Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're going to cover the Ryan Leslie beat formula. Here's the chords. I'll give you guys the chords and then I'll get into the whole starting the beat. All right, so the chords are C minor ninth, and then we're moving into D, what is that, minor seventh, and then we're flattening the fifth and the tonic to create this like turnaround. And I showed you guys that like weeks and weeks ago. Okay, so if you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. We train over 1 million producers around the world, so I'm going to work for Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Lil Baby, Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, a long list of folks. All right, so let's hop straight into it. So firstly, I want to record that piano before I forget the chords, and then we'll build the rhythm around this. So I like bongos and stuff, and we're not here to copy his song. We're here to create our own style around his influence. Ryan Leslie is like one of the only people I bought a CD from. Him, Rick Ross, Wiz Khalifa, Young Jeezy, 50 Cent, and that's pretty much it that I can think of. Okay, so let's record these chords to the metronome so that we're recording on beat. So I always bought the CDs of people who had the dopest beat. We're also playing a staccato style, which is like, dun, and then we're playing sustained. So it goes like this. So it's short and then long, long. Got to do it again because one, I don't even know if it recorded, but two, did it record? I have no idea. Let's see. Okay, something recorded. But let's do that one more time only because I messed up the sustain pedal. All right, so we got the formula. The lights wanted to go off. Hope my batteries are good. I swapped those batteries out. I ran out of AA batteries, y'all. Smash the like button for AA batteries. All right, so we have the piano. It's not clipping. Let's hit Control L. So luckily it's on beat, so we don't have to do too much. Now, most of the time, if I'm doing more rhythmic stuff, I need to do the drums first because it's very hard to do all the music and then try to wrap your drums around the music because there's so many changes in time. So let's start the drums now that we have like the basic harmony. If you guys are new to production, you know, there's 4 layers to a beat. You have the top line, which is like your melodies. You have your harmony layer, which everybody tends to overlook. You have your contrast layer, which is like your bass. And then you have the 4th layer, which is called your rhythm section. So these can be interchanged and combined, but for the most part, most songs have those 4 ingredients. Okay, so let's start adding some hand drums. Now, I really love the Neptune sound, but I also love Ryan Leslie's like acoustic drum sound. So I want to kind of blend in some hand drums in here just for my own influence here. So let's add, there's so many snares, and you guys will get the project files if I didn't already mention that. So no need to like memorize everything. Let me find a snare that's like not, let's use this one. So I'm going to program pretty like tight to the grid drums only because, again, we don't want to spend too much time. Let's turn the snare up a little bit. So really, we're probably going to compress that snare, but again, we're not going to get into everything right now. One thing you guys got to learn is when you're really producing like in the flow, you can't keep stopping and stopping and stopping on little stuff, or else you're going to mess up your entire process. So a tip for people who are just getting started, the more you stop, the more you're going to just be scratching your head trying to finish the beat. Okay, so just, it's like a human body, you know, build the backbone first, build the rest of the limbs from that point. Don't try to build everything all at once. Okay, so now we need a kick. So I'm trying not to copy the Irina song, but that's the one I'm referencing. So it's like, I don't know when the kicks come in actually, so it's like I don't even know. So I do know that open hats are usually on the 3.5, so it's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and let's turn the open hat up. 1, 2, 3, and now they could be a little bit shorter, but I don't want to waste time on little stuff. Now, one thing I noticed in his songs, I don't know, I think it's because he plays drums by hand, but his hi-hats would like have a crescendo. So I'm going to just do this manually, but it'd be like, it would just keep getting louder. So let's kind of copy that. Okay, and then let's go to piano roll. We're just going to fade the velocity like this, up. Now, you probably would look for more acoustic hi-hats, like a closed hi-hat. I don't think I have a ton of samples on this one. Okay. Again, we're not trying to do everything by everything right now. Let's just move this over. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, step, 1, 2, 3, and it's crescendoing, okay? Let's shorten this open hat a little bit. So now it's just a matter of like adding a kick that will not stifle that movement. So we could do the classic like kick, 3, C, oh, kick. Okay, but just leave out the third. That's the basic like hip hop rhythm. Thing is finding a kick that matches this tone. A lot of these are very hard kicks. Not every song needs a super hard kick. Let's try this one. That's kind of long. All right, so these kicks, this one's probably the most acoustic, but it's a little, it has a room sound to it, so let's fade that out. Kick could be a little more animated, but we're not gonna, again, we don't want to obsess because getting caught up on this step is gonna F us up. So let's get to the music. So now it's just about like adding top line synths to accent the harmony. I'm gonna turn the kick down. Another thing is the hi-hat sounds super like robotic. So what we're gonna do is offset them just by a little bit. Under the wrench tool, turn up time shift. If you're in older FL Studios, it's called time offset in the bottom left. So we're delaying the hi-hats. We could do the same thing with the kick. That's gonna add like an invisible groove. Okay, now let's find instruments to add over top. Now, I'm kind of combining styles here, but another thing he likes or uses a lot is arpeggios. So on this chord Kronos, you have something called the Karma engine. So I can basically hold the keys and it will arpeggiate for me. So let me try out different stuff. So it can make it sound like I'm really nice at piano, even though I'm just like hacking my way. Now, as long as you learn chords, this is useful. All right, so that's like a, you know, like a turnaround sound effect, but we're using an arpeggio to really fill in that sound. But I want to look for more synthesizer sounds to kind of go throughout the beat, so it's not just a grand piano the entire time. Also, the hi-hats feel super stiff. I think it's just the sample itself. Also, we're missing a bass line, so that's part of the movement. All right, let's look for a synthesizer this time. Also, I'm going to add a soft clipper, so we're not clipping for the video. Soft clipper. So this is only for the video, not for like mixing. So again, I'm just playing the same chords, but just stacking them up. So this is why you guys have to look at music production like layers as opposed to like sound selection, because when you think of layers, it could be infinite things about harmony. If we're playing the same harmony, we could just stack it up. So I really love that, like, turnaround. This, you know, if you speak music theory in these, basically the turnaround is anytime you have a seventh chord, which was that D minor seventh. A quick way to create like the next chord, if you want to create like a contrast point, is just flatten the fifth and flatten the tonic. So here's what it sounds like. And it adds that nice tension without doing too much. So if it's major, you would do the same thing basically. I think we're missing a bass layer, meaning for the piano. So let me mess with this. So what I'm going to do for this track to add more movement. Now, this is my own style. We're not trying to copy his track exactly. Okay, so what I'm going to do to add movement is add those hand drums. So hand drums are one of my favorites about the Neptunes, as well as Brian Leslie uses it, I think, in the Addiction song, if I'm not mistaken. Like that. So let's use some percussions here. Now, there's so many samples here, I'm going to have to just listen. So here, these two are pretty good, actually. So the way I'm thinking of these sounds is like one's a kick, one's a snare, but we're just not using a kick and a snare. Okay, so I don't think we need 1,000 of those. Now, congas to me are longer tailed. So I would use those like a tom drum. Okay, now one kind of Pharrell type Neptunes technique. Let me make me is let's say Control L. This might take long. I wish there were a shorter way to do this, but what we need to do for each thing is trim each sample, go to the wrench tool, and find the cut group, in this case 40, because we have so many samples. Let's right click, copy that, go to your other conga, We got to trim it, wrench tool, paste that same value 40. So now if I overlap these congas and bongos, it will cut the other sample off. And another thing kind of the Neptunes were known for is a truncated sound. So it's going to take me time to do this per sample, but we're going to go to the volume tab and I'm going to turn the envelope on for the volume. So now I can truncate the sample, and that cutoff sound is what creates the bounce because I'm not playing the full sample unless I hold the key. And that's part of the Neptune sound, is that like cutoff sound. This is me adding my own influence, but also I've noticed some of these techniques in Ryan Leslie's other tracks using those hand drums. So again, this is going to take me a little bit, so let me just manually do all this. Now we're also going to change up the drums at the end so it doesn't just play the same exact thing over and over and over. Okay, so what I'll usually do when it comes to hand drums, I'll loop record. So let's go to loop record, and I'll just select the section here and just do one instrument at a time, but I'm loop recording so I don't have to keep stopping and going and stopping and going. So I need to. All right, so apparently recorded my last take. I don't know how. So right here, we're using our typing keyboard to piano. Right click, make sure it's C4, layout piano. That's the default, or just hit reset. The champ is here. That's kind of where I'm taking it from. So some parts were good, some parts weren't. See, it feels rushed. And then if those don't feel truncated enough. So what I'll do for the rushed part, that's kind of when I got in the groove. I'll just manually delay these a little to the right. And just, fix some of these in groups. So I'm hitting Alt to do nudge. Okay, so now we have some movement in the track that's not just the hi-hats. Now let's start panning things. And now let's create a contrast that kind of mirrors the same rhythm, but not the same exact thing. All right, so now we got that. Let me turn one of these is recording. Let's make sure that's not recording. You guys, again, will get the project files for free. Okay, we're going to pan one to the left, one to the right. See how it's becoming danceable, less like on the grid. I think that's pretty much all the low hand drums. So now we need the snare part of this. That's weird. That sound was looping, even though I think it's trippy. Let's record to a new pattern. I think because I don't know what happened there, but it was like looping on itself, even though I wasn't. That's weird. Let's do it again. So you can see all these like time differences create that bounce. show you guys. Let's say you want to create a change up. You can highlight this, especially for like the snare part. Hit Alt F to create a flam. So it goes ta ra like that. So instead of, it's like a snare roll kind of. Now this other hand drum is two tonal. So I got to record that, but tuck it in the mix. So da 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 da, da like that. So I did it that way so that I can actually hit the key the way I want, but we're going to just transpose up this other note. So anytime it was like pitched down, that's because it's hard to hit the same typing keyboard twice. Okay, so I'm going to turn this one way down and then now we have that frequent movement. Let's go back, add this. I think we have enough drums. All right, so now I kind of like that conga being super loud on the right. It just feels real. Now let's add more instrumentation. Clone this over. So let's build up by adding more snares, more claps. Let's introduce more impact. 1, 2, clap. Okay, let's add a loop on it. Let's find more claps. I swear I had more. Here you go. So I know I'm moving kind of quick here. We're basically just adding layers of claps. Let me take out one of these kicks. Now let's layer this harmony a couple more times and then we'll add more of the lead sounds. Let's hear what these claps sound like. I want to also add more kick. Let's see what this sounds like, adding this kick. Okay, let's move this kick to its own pattern though. We don't want that to be layered with anything. So now it goes doom, da doom, 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 ta doom, doom. It's two different kicks. There's a groove. All right, let's. We add this little in here. So just a little stuff that I'm adding just to switch it up over time. All right, right, so I did that by hand. Let's slice this. We're gonna make it unique as its own pattern because I think I recorded. I don't know what just happened. Let's just make it unique. Now I'm going to go to the keyboard and look for more layers for the harmony. So now let's add some rhythmic synths. So because I'm still looking for the harmony sound, I stumbled across this sound that sounds dope. We're adding this in. So my new thing is like using synths as a rhythm, same way you would percussion. So that sound was kind of interesting how it's like layered. So I'm lucky it kind of had two cool sounds back to back. So anyhow, that's why it didn't sound the same in that higher octave there. Let's hit Control L, send it to its own mixer insert. So far, this track is a vibe. I'm like really vibing with this one. Again, shout out to Ryan Leslie for the actual formula. How do we have 52 tracks? Holy moly. All right. And again, you guys will get the project files for free, so don't like stress. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Let me see what else I can find in here though. We still need to add an arpeggio at some point. Usually when I do rhythm stuff, I also counterbalance it. So that dun, dun, I usually find something else to like balance it out. I'll pan one left, one right. Let me find like a counterbalance. So I like this kind of soft lead. Let's just record this. I think because there's a latency, let me turn off some of these plugins. I'm going to mute my mic for a little bit so I'm not recording to a delay because there is a small delay. I was doing too much trying to freestyle. That's what I get. All right, so let's not overkill that. All right, let's. But notice it's like call, response, call, response. It's a contrast. I still got to find that arpeggio. So let's clone this one more time and add the arpeggio. Now for the arpeggio, we already have a lot of rhythm stuff. So let's take out those rhythm parts. That was kind of fire. I did that by accident. That was kind of fire. Let me run that back. So I accidentally pasted that in and it sounded fire at that time. So what I'll do, instead of completely rooting it, we're going to just chop it right at that point where it came in. It's kind of fire. Happy accident. All right, let's pull this over. So now I'm just kind of mirroring what I did. That one felt a little offbeat. I don't know why, but let's find this arpeggio. This thing is like doing its own. I figured out why I had latch mode on. All right, let's run that back. All right, my fault, y'all. I thought the sustain pedal would like hold the note, but it didn't, so I got to redo it. All right, I'm okay with that. Again, we could sit here all day and try to like perfect every little thing. Let's just find one more lead. So as you guys can see, it's like start off with something, build on that thing, build some more on that stuff, and then build some more. So it's always evolving over time. And then you can rearrange all these. So the last thing that I'll do for today, because this video is kind of eating up a lot of time, is we need to find a hard lead that has, I would like a lead that has a sync mode, but I don't know how to search for that in this keyboard. So we're just going to listen for like a very aluminum metallic sounding lead. Kind of like this lead too. So now I'm just going to add my own little top line stuff. All right, so it's kind of improv in there. So I was embracing the half steps. So going out of key on purpose. So I still got to find that hard lead though. So again, we could sit here all day. There's 1,000 things we could do to add on to it. All right, so what I might do is some of these in between notes from the other take, I wasn't really feeling, but I was just improvising, so I was just going with it. I might just cut them. They're not like a bother, but there's like a couple notes in here I wasn't intending to play. Let's play them one left, one right, just to counterbalance. I think we've added enough to this beat. Oh, I forgot the bass line. I did all that and forgot the bass line. Holy crap. It's been 40 minutes. We didn't even do the bass line. That's crazy. All right, so hopefully I can come up with one. I'm not the greatest bass player in the world, so let's try. So now it's got to figure out in between notes with this bass. Let me just record a straight take. right, so pretty basic. I think there's like a delay on this bass, so that's kind of weird. So let me see what I can do about that. I already recorded it, but let's just see if. Yeah, they had like a reverb on that bass. That's such a random thing to have on there. So I'm gonna do that one more time. Like, why would they put a reverb on this? Let's do it again. Darn, I messed up on the turnaround. It's gonna bother me. Let me do it one more time. Hopefully I get it right. So at the end, it got a little heavy with the bass. There's a lot going on. So I don't like, I think we need to get rid of either the arpeggio or something. Or I might just separate out that dun 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 part. I might just separate that out. Let's copy. Darn, I shouldn't have changed that note. It should have been like, and just held it. Whatever, fire. I don't remember what preset it was, so. What in the heck was I doing here? Oh, I think that was for the, I don't know what the heck I was doing. What I'm gonna do, because I don't like it. I don't know what the freak I was doing. So let me just cut this part. I think this is the offending track. I'll just repeat it. Or is it this track? All right, so that must have made sense in the context of the other section, but not here. I don't know why. So we're just gonna cut that and repeat it. Not sure why. It just sounds out of context now. I don't remember. I think it's... Oh, I think I know what happened. So basically, this is a bar off, I think. I think it's supposed to be like this. That's what happened. Either way, I like it the way it is now. Not intended to be this way, but... Let's actually move it back. So let's figure out timing. That's why I didn't really like... Let's just chop the audio. That second part doesn't need to be there. Just little phrases. Takes out a lot of energy, actually. So the mistake some producers make is they take away their energy way too early. If you guys do change up your energy, I would recommend only doing it for like a bridge. So here we got to keep that dancing energy going. We're not going to just pause it out of nowhere. I would do a bunch of chord changes, but this video is getting so big, I don't want to like blow up my computer. So here's where I would introduce a chord change, a break in this key. Since it's grand piano, it should be easy enough. But we're going to have to change everything about everything in this. So a quick way to come up with chords here is think about your relative key. So I think I started off on C minor and then D, or C, minor ninth and then D minor. So C minor into D minor. So a quick way to like think about the relative key is start at C minor, your root note, and count up 3 notes, 1, and then play a major chord starting there. That's going to give you the relative key. I have to learn this key because it's not my natural key. So let me figure it out. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to do a key change here, but this is where key change would be. It's taking me too long to figure out the chord voicing, and I could literally be sitting here for 20 minutes. For the video's sake, though, I'm going to not do a key change, but here's technically where a great key change would be. Let's run this all the way back. right, so gold clip is giving me a little bit of CPU issues, so I'm just gonna run it with soft clipper for now. The energy of the song is telling me to like do that key change that I was talking about. So let me at least finish the bare bones of the idea. So the key is, I'm going to be recording the A major ninth chord. What was it? So we started C. So E flat major. Last two chords because it's a new key for me. So yeah, it's tough to do that turnaround because my fingers are like super in a weird place, but it needs to be like dun, 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 the same kind of half steps we did. But that's the chord I hear in my head though. I mean, I guess I could sit here and try to figure out the next chord. I'm trying to remember what we did. We went up a half step, so that this might take some time, y'all, and I'm not editing this out. So let me just kind of figure out the chord. It might be worth it because it's only 3 chords. And if I figure out the next chord, it's just a half step down. But the thing is, I have to like get used to half stepping 3 notes at a time. So let me figure this out. so it's pretty much the same notes, not too complicated. So hopefully that chord is the one. All right, so I know that took a while, but this is a foreign key to me, so it's not easy to really do that on the fly. This is why MIDI is so important, yo. All right, so we're gonna cut this and then kind of just hack them together. Hopefully this sounds right. Let's drag this up. That last chord wasn't it. Because it goes, all right, so that last chord, I don't have time really to figure out that last chord. So we're not going to like waste 20 more minutes doing that. But at least we have 2 of the 3. What I might do is just let this, let me figure out how we can. We'll just use the original. Okay, that's what we'll do. So we're going to swap these 2 out. I think we need to drop out some drums too to really emphasize those chords. Like right here, the dring is being overtaken by the rhythm. So let's pull back the rhythm. Also, it sounds like there's an arpeggio going. Oh, that's what that is. Okay. That was kind of dope, leaving that in the back. Let's run this all the way back. So those are all the changes we need musically. Again, that last chord is tough because there's a lot of half steps in there. At the end, I'll create like a musical dropout where the drums drop. Let this run one more time. Shout out to Ryan Leslie, the GOAT. All right, guys, you can get these project files for free if you go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Subscribe if you're new, like this video, share with a friend. Peace.